Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Keepin It Real and Space Engineers. Let's go ahead and start working on setting up the world here. Obviously survival, I don't like autosave, global multipliers. Most of this is just going to be set to realistic. The primary point of the Keepin It Real series. Making it very hard on myself without taking too many things away. I like to set the view distance to at least 20 kilometers. That's fine. This is the one point of real that I'm actually not going to mess with. I don't like the way lightning works in the game. I will leave sun rotation, weather, one full day for the rotation. Be good if I could learn how to speak. Radiation enabled. Asteroid amount. I'll actually leave it normal density for now. Meteor activity, normal, world size, unlimited. Sound, also in realistic mode. And solar radiation intensity. Well, to be realistic, that's heavy. Auto healing doesn't make sense to realistic. I will leave most of this on. Just double checking here, except progression. Again, don't really like the way it works in this game. Optimal spawn distance doesn't really matter. I do like the new setup here on everything. It's nice. Food consumption rate. Now again, to make it realistic, this actually has to slow down. This makes it to where every 3 hours the bar is depleted, which makes a lot more sense to realism. NPCs and encounters, those are all fine. Miscellaneous also looks fine. Experimental settings. Well, I like to have the possibility of in-game scripts, even though I have, at this point, not used very many of them. And on camera, I haven't used any. But I like to have that option. I also like to use share inertia tensor. I don't know so much about unsafe piston impulses and unsafe torques. I mean, it says it right there in the name, unsafe. I'm not sure if I really need those. If I do, though, I can always come back and fix this. Permanent death is a yes. Which, that just means if I die without a survival kit or anything set up, I am dead. Okay, so that's all of my options. For mods, I'm going to start off with a pretty small list, and you guys can put in the in the comment section if you want any other mods added to this. Like, if you want me to try dealing with aerodynamic physics, though I'm not sure if that mod works. The ones that I do know work without any problems that I like are build info, build vision, colorful icons. The HUD that I like using doesn't really work anymore either. And I think I want to put in the azimuth or overclocked ore detectors, because detecting ore with the vanilla systems is a pain in the neck. So let's avoid that as much as possible by giving myself something to build up to. Those are pretty expensive, but they're also incredibly powerful. And I don't think there's too much more I need on. I would like a compass. Although I think there might be a better compass mod than the one I use, but it works. It still gives me directions. And I wanted sneaky tools also. Where's that? Sneaky sounds, quieter tools. Alright. One other one that I might want is advanced welding. This allows me to detach and reattach items from like derelict ships or whatnot. It just is more realistic. So a nice simple little mod list. Like I said, if there's any more that you want me to add or any of these you want changed out, let me know in the comments. But there we go. We are good to go. I'm going to pause this up while it's loading. All right, got this loaded in now. This is in the Apex Survival update. So, of course, we've got the nice new landing rover, I'm going to go ahead and start Earthlike because I figure that's going to be the best thing for me to do here. Now, the primary rules outside of what was set in the options, I will use first person only. So if I want to be able to see something other than just out my cockpit, I need cameras. Oh, I forgot to put in my speed mod, because I'm also not going to be using jump drives in this. They're not very realistic. By that same token, I'm also not going to use gravity drives, like the gravity block. That also doesn't make any realistic sense. Trying to keep an eye out for food things, but I appear to be on a pole, so this is going to be difficult finding food, isn't it? It's all cold up here. Let me turn these lights off. Don't need them right now. It's just burning out power. Oh, I do have that on. The ore detectors, I'm not using ore detector plus or anything, so I've only got the 50 meters range on those. But I'll keep an eye out for a good source of iron as well. I should attempt at getting a little outpost at least ready as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead and just stop and take a look at this new rover. I got a green one. So it's not very much. An oxygen tank, a vent set to depressurize to always keep that oxygen tank full, a survival kit, hydrogen tank, and a battery. That's pretty much all that's here. I can turn off my light now and get back to driving. I can't build any rovers this nice, so I'm going to keep this rover. I might change it up a little bit, but for the most part I think I'm just going to keep it as is. Maybe add some more wheels to it, make it somewhat larger. And like pack it around with me all over the solar system wherever I go from here. I'm sure it'll work great on moons too. But before I can do any of that, I have to find food. It does start you with 4 kelp crisps, which does refill 12 at a time in your hunger, so not very much. This is a lot easier to do in third person, going looking for food here, and probably even easier if you're not in a frozen wasteland. Okay, more forestry over here. I tend to find that where there's trees, there's a better chance of finding berry bushes and such. Though in my testing, I've pretty much found berry bushes and grain, and not very much in the grain department, mind you. Let's see. Moving mostly southeast. This is just regular bushes. At least the music finally came back. That was eerily gone while I was doing the intro. Get back to my southeasterly direction because I'm not seeing anything there. If I head in pretty much one direction, I've got a better chance of getting out of all the ice. Though this thing doesn't even have an O2H2 generator on it. Yeah, it doesn't even have O2H2. So I could put one on the back once I've got the stuff for it. Which is why I, by the way, really love turning off the progression. If I decide to do something like build an O2H2 real quick on this, I don't have to go through half a dozen or more steps to get there. I just have to worry about getting the materials. Okay, I'm starting to see some green over here, and I'm actually aiming towards sunrise. So I'm driving later into the day. I'm going to have to be careful over here, because who knows how choppy this ground is. Also, who knows where any food is. Now, I am not allowing myself third person, but you might see me every now and then do that just to quickly recenter everything. Though I will try to refrain from doing that as much as possible. So I am getting into more green, but it's spotty right now. Still mostly ice. Of course, it might be more green just because of this cliff over here. South by southeast. It is great starting. Oh, processing plant. It is great starting next to all this ice because I know where a nice ice plane is to get all the ice I could need until I find a nice lake or something. 7 to 20 hours, depending on how I'm pushing this thing. So I do have plenty of time to try and find something. Though one should note, I still need the power to run my survival kit to start working on building a base. Where, oh where could food or someplace greener be? I know I started on the Earthlike. Right, the trees tell me that. I must have started on one of the poles. Which, with the proper pole aligned compass, that would have probably been fun. Whoa, slow down, slow down. Some of these bushes keep faking me out. I think that they're a different shape. And one of the berry bushes I'm looking for, there's plenty of green. Way down there. So let's start aiming that way, since that's where I can actually see a good chunk of green. Pretty sure I have far better chance of finding food there. Also pretty sure I have to be very careful how I'm driving around here, because I can't see what's ahead. There we go. Coast for a little while. Wonder what planet that is up there. It'll be a lot easier to see at night when I don't have the sun right behind it. Pretty sure that's the moon I can see there. Or is that the Mars-like? I think that might be the Mars-like. No, that's way too close. Again, easier to see once it's nighttime, but that's probably going to be quite some time off using the 24-hour rotation here for the sun. Kilted Bastard did put out a good video on being able to find the plants and whatnot for food to get started. And that's like turn off your grass texture, turn the textures down, make sure you have a nice hydrogen bottle and fly up and look down, look out in the distance, because the grass, the plants, the trees, those will all start or not render as far as the actual vegetation nodes. And knowing that is why I'm trying to keep an eye out on all of these distant lumps of bush, and so far still not having any luck. But I am getting much closer to literal greener pastures here. I also haven't seen any kind of iron or nickel pop up. Again, though, vanilla ore detectors. I have to pretty much roll right on top of it to find it. Yeah, let's go ahead and aim towards that. Try to make sure I'm centered again. And continue looking for foods. Now, there does come a point when I completely ignore these unknown signals. But early game, they are absolutely amazing for extra parts and stuff. And they always have the loot. It's just at a certain point I give up on looking for the loot. Wonder what's in this rock while I'm over nearby. Nickel. There's also some gold over here. Let's just back up over that. Yep, gold and silver. Right there. Our surface. AGA, there we go. And now let's get over here and get this. No, you do have number 1 on this to use for your brakes and whatnot if you're not like me and just use the P button. I do not think I have anything else to get unless, oh, they added some stuff. Typically, I haven't been getting anything out of these for a long while. Silicon and small steel tubes. I can't make these in the kit there, so this is very useful. Also, with the changes they've made, my slow welding in this, my realistic welding and grinding, is going to actually slow me way down. Well, I guess not too far down. It's the top end tools. You have to make sure you're actually surviving for a time before those work. This must be one of the new ones. I haven't seen this drop pod either. It's sitting on a large hydrogen thruster. Small grid large, but large nonetheless. Now, there are a lot of items I'm getting out of this that do not fit in the kit at all, but should go in here for as much space as that has, which is still a lot more than I myself have. Can I just... Aha. I can, in fact, just alt-click those right into here. Oh, access panel. This is a pretty nicely built little signal device. Supply pod. Whatever it is that you wish to call it. I do like those access panels. So as I'm going forward in this, whatever ship I build, I definitely have to make sure has either good floors for my mag boots or plenty of space for me to safely fly from one side of it to the other. Again, no gravity blocks. So as soon as I leave the Earthlike, I will not have gravity until I land elsewhere. So I'm probably just going to build an outpost for myself on the Earthlike here so I can get started. I may or may not actually take that outpost with me. An interesting thing to do would be just build my outpost as a ship waiting to be completed for my exodus. Before I could even start worrying about that, I have got to figure out some food. The really easy way to do food is, of course, just get a small base up and running and start growing algae, which doesn't require me to find seeds or anything first. Go ahead. Well, some of this can be put into the, not these, survival kit, and that can hold on to it. Yeah, that's just my tools taking up that much room in my inventory down there. You know, I forgot to turn those off. So between this episode and next episode, I'm actually going to turn those off. It's not that I'm not going to be doing them at all. It's just I'm not going to be doing them for so long that there's no point in me dealing with the lag they generate until I'm ready to start hunting them down. All right, and finally getting into some green stuff. Now if I can just find some food. Already down 9% on my food bar there, or 9 points. So this is actually kind of going up a mountain. I don't want to go up too high. I just saw that nickel, so let's just drop another GPS here. I don't need that at all. So let's just go ahead and mark that nickel up. Unfortunately, these two will always point me a bit better towards the ice patch. Oh, ice patch. If I just turn around up here, back in the south by southeast direction, that is a vast ice plain. Not an ice patch. Need to choose my words better. Let's see. Still not seeing berry bushes. They pop up as a pretty bright green. That's why I mostly look for those. They're really easy to see. Still got to keep an eye on my battery power. Especially now that I'm going mostly uphill. Just gonna pull more on the power usage there. I think I may have just spotted proper bush up here in that very green area. I guess I'm still kind of in tundra at the moment. But that round bush right up there, is that a berry bush? As I get closer, it should pop bright green if it is. And what I was looking at appears to not even exist. Fascinating. It was a hole in the voxel. Like Minecraft style world hole in the voxel. That's not very helpful. But now that I'm in all of this grass, I should absolutely start seeing some stuff pop. Yep, right there, berry bush. Now, I still will need a base before I can do anything with any of this. But I'm okay with that. I'll get a base put together soon. Actually, also, these will always show back up. So I will just label this area as berry. And I don't know how long it'll take it to restock on a realistic world. But on your standard day length world, it looks like it pops back up the next day. So if it's the next day here, it's probably going to be several days in the real world before I get to come back and reharvest that. I need to go further up and see if it's smoother up there, because I cannot go down this way. Not going to risk losing my rover. It's everything I've got right now. Oh, this is already pretty choppy. Uh-oh. Come on. Now, it does have a gyroscope, which is what I just used to be able to turn around there and get out of that hole. Wow, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to use this path at all. This is really choppy. This is why I prefer flying, especially on the Earthlike. If I could get to easier plains portions of it. Okay, this looks like some dying voxel up here. Haha, I win. So will I be able to cruise up this way? Let's just make it a little easier. Now maybe I can drive through here. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Try not to go too fast here. You can still see all these furrows cut into the voxels. Whoa, yeah, let's not get stuck in that rut. Whoa, 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 come on. This is where I would be going into third person to navigate, but that is against the rules. Maybe I should build a periscope on this thing. It's like a small grid piston with a hinge and rotor, and use a whoa, okay, going kind of fast helped me there. Use a custom turret controller to be able to control the periscope. Okay, this is burning up a lot of power fighting up this mountain. And I'm right back up into more ice. And yet, not seeing any more ore. Or plants. How's the oxygen up here? Low oxygen. I could set up a base up here, though. Low oxygen isn't that terrible. Yep, I guess let's go ahead and try finding some patch of iron somewhere and just making a base. I think that's going to be my best bet at this point in time. Go back in a southwesterly direction. Okay, I don't see any furrows right on this middle part. Oh, but there was a nice ditch right on the other side. At least I jumped over it. So I definitely have to be careful coming back out of these mountains if I'm using the rover. Yeah, I need to put myself a base down somewhere, keeping an eye out for iron. You'd think up here in the mountains I'd find a nice chunk of iron somewhere, right? I am hitting the brakes right now. It is not slowing down so well. Of course, I'm going downhill, and well, I guess I'm not totally hitting the brakes. I'm more reversing while it's trying to go down. But come on, we've all played racing games. Hitting S on the keyboard is brakes. On most of them. Ice everywhere, but not a single chunk of iron. Come on now. Whoa, 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 deep furrows. Plenty of rocks out there. Oh, I'm still crouched. This is a really pretty view, but I'm not seeing any signs of ore, other than the ore rocks. Oh, that was actually probably a little too fast on the drop there. And reckon I'll drive on towards that, see what's on these rocks on the way. And I can't use the iron yet, but I definitely want to find iron, because once I get started on an outpost, I will need it. There's silicon rock. I'm not marking the rocks because, well, they don't stick around very long, especially once I've got some kind of a mining vessel. I just come eat the rock and then leave it. Nothing but a hole and crater. Magnesium. I will mark this one, however. Simply because when I need magnesium, I know exactly where to go for it. Oh, I'm searching. That's not going to be very helpful. Mag rock. Alright, now. It looks like it's raining. Joy of joys. Alright, let's see. Right down here to this new signal. Yeah, I'm back in an ice plain. And still no iron. Whoa, 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 whoa. Too fast. Ah, forgot my brakes. Never forget to put on your parking brakes, whether you're using P or otherwise. Gotta remember the brakes. And as we saw, I didn't get anything this time. But I did get more useful things out of the loot and cutting it down. I do want to make some changes to the drop pod. The drop rover is purely vanilla, no DLCs. I have all the DLCs. I'm sure there's a few parts in there I can change out for nicer looking parts. Give me all of your steel. I need it. Especially since I'm not finding iron anywhere. Throw what can be thrown in there. The rest in there. Oh, I'm out of space for things. I definitely need to build a base. And that's why this one didn't go anywhere. It had a mag plate. Made to quickly land itself. Alright, let's come and check in this foliage here. I doubt there's going to be any plants because we're back in ice. Definitely not seeing any plants. And this is just simple rain. So if I decided to try finding my way back down to the nickel, silver, and gold, it would be very hard to get back down that mountain. It was pretty difficult to find a good path to climb it. Finding a good path to go down it doesn't seem very plausible. I see some kind of a bush down here. Or log. Is that mushrooms? No, that's another bush. It's going to be difficult to find all of these plants, which sounds fun in and of itself. Might have to make some kind of a little harvest truck or something to drive around once I do find some plant locations and mark them. Okay, can I find a way down this slope without all of these giant furrows messing me up? I turned off those lights in the beginning. Now I need them. So let's just go ahead and turn those on. Crank them up all the way. I didn't mean to have control held there. Because this foggy rain is making things very difficult to see. So I just want to avoid the furrows or hit them with the right speed for their shape. Because some of them you can jump right off them. And others are just set up to ruin your rovers. Okay, so I found my way down that particular hill. It's going to be a lot more climbing down though, because I'm way up on a mountain. Or, if it could be nice and give me some iron. Because if I have an iron location, that means I'm probably not far from nickel and cobalt. And honestly, you get just about enough silicon out of stone if you keep working stone. So I just need a good iron patch. That, and once I've got the base going, I can probably switch out the survival kit here for some cargo. But that's if I decide to change the vehicle in a big way. Kind of like the idea of having a little respawn truck I can park anywhere. Oh, this looks like it's a good way downhill. Maybe. It's definitely going down. Just got to keep an eye out for all those furrows and holes and crevices, while continuing to look for more food and iron. I am at 81 right now on food, so I could actually eat one of those bags of crisps. Now, coming up, I had so many furrows to deal with. Going down, I'm not even seeing any. Well, there is the smooth voxels mod. I haven't had that great of luck with it, but people who like doing rover play on the Earthlike do have a tendency of using such things. Like Prestige Reaper tends to have it on in his games. Was that a regular bush? Or was that... Yeah, that's a regular bush. Just barely saw it out of the corner of my eye. And had no clue one way or the other. Okay, that looks like a nice canyon there. I don't want to drive into a canyon. I'll drive over next to it, though. Like I said, definitely keeping an eye out for iron. And I appear to have found some right here. Yep, right underneath me. I'm in the search again. Put a couple exclamation points, that way I know it's near where I'm putting my base, which is, where do I want to put my base? I can put it down in this little canyon. Hide it down here. Oof. Or a little further away so I don't have the hole from my mining right in my face. Might also be alright. As long as I make a cargo craft to come and get this. What's over this way? See if I can find either a decent hole or a nice flat spot. Hey, what's in this rock? Another magnesium rock. I won't mark that one because it's going to be right next to where I'm at. And any rock nearby me, of course, is being eaten. As much as the food I can't find. Wow. 11 kilometers away from where I found that nickel to start. So yeah, let's see. I guess this little hole underneath the magnesium rock. Yeah, tuck the outpost in over here somewhere. Don't know why I hit X. It doesn't have any effect on that vehicle. Okay, it's not moving. Is that a nice straight shot down that way? That looks like it is a nice straight shot down into the valley right there. So, let's see. That rock is right there. What have I got on me for steel? A little bit. It messed with my colors, didn't it? Should be a nice white there. So that's actually just a guide for my typical style of setting things up here. Yeah, creatures of habit. Alright, so let's drop some of this off and get steel. I guess I'm out of space there. But I have plenty of steel, so that's alright. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, nice little 5x5, sounds good to me. Whoops. All of the wrong clicks. Is it truly one of my videos if there's not a bunch of wrong clicks? All right. Like I said, back to those wrong clicks. And well, fine, run away then, you silly piece of steel. Alright, so there's my basics. I can probably give myself a nice little walk ramp up here on the front. Actually, let's give it a little bit of a porch and a walk path. And where's that half block? And let's just make sure this is as easy to walk as possible by not having that gap on the ground. There we go. Nice. I still have 28 steel, so let's go back to the half block. Let's just get rid of all of this right now. I just put in what I need when I need it. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the 6th here, we can have some solar or some wind be set up here. Which for right now, I might actually have most, if not all of the parts I need just to throw one wind turbine right there on that. Just to make sure everything stays all right and doesn't get deleted by cleanup. I meant to actually middle click that as well. That does not feed all the way through, obviously, so let's just throw this on here. This is not going to actually work very well, but it will give me the power that I need. 1 motor and 22 girders. I think I can make girders and perhaps motors, pretty sure motors, out of the survival kit. Motors and girders can be made here. I just have to be able to get some stone. So let's grab some sneaky from under here because this is stone. I'll just go ahead and go down a little bit. Put the hole under the platform, that way it's not as visible. Come on, give me the good stuff for stone. There we go. So you can see this is more like gravel, and this is stone. Now, I don't have hardly any space. Partly because of realistic, partly because I'm carrying, well, everything. Let's go to production, ingots, and just queue up like 20,000 of those for right now. Drop off all that I can. Alright. So I'm getting there. And I went ahead and shift clicked the rest of that, the 1 motor 22 girders, into the production here. So I just need 14 more girders to get finished. And this will be online, keeping the base from getting deleted. There we go. And that's all this is for right now, is not to get a bunch of power, just to keep this grid from being deleted. Because I have so much to do here. 75 hunger, so I'm going to go ahead and go eat one of my meal packs that I have. Because that's a lot easier for me to say than what it is, kelp crisp. Well, that's not so hard to say. Trying to say the plural of it is difficult. So you can just right click that in your inventory to eat it. You can also drop it into your hotbar and just click a number. Either way. Oh, you're coming almost straight down on top of me. Alright. I could use your extra parts. Let's grab some steel, because I can go ahead and throw a couple things down over here to get started, which is basic assembler and basic refinery. Oh, there it is. Let's just go ahead and set that there. I like the looks of that side of the block better, so spin that around. This is the connection. Man, this weather. Okay, so I hit Survivor level 1. Shift B will open those up. There we go. Extra 10% on health, extra 10% on welding and grinding speed, 4% on movement speed, and down to 90% of oxygen consumption. Just for level 1. That's not bad. Oh, not bad at all. I also need some interior plate. I don't have very many of those because I'm absolutely going to need cargo containers. And aside from just cargo containers, I also need an O2H2 Jenny. Let's go ahead and go with the lab version. And let's set it out like that. That way I get to see the bubbles it has and everything. Man, that is barely turning. I mean, it's far too low. This is close to too many blocks. Like, this half block right here is too close to it. I think out to the second one here is too close to it. And this particular fog is heavy fog, so yeah, there is no wind. But again, even with the uber slow turn that has, keeps the grid from being deleted. None of this will be useful once I get it built on that much power. But it will work. It will keep from being deleted. So let's just sneak under here, get a battery. Sneak these in behind these legs. That one's up way high. Oh well. So I'll have to get those finished. All of this. And that's not even getting started on kelp. Which, still got some steel, so... I'll just put out a row of 5 of these. And... oh, right. These only connect on the bottom. So I can be a little cheaty here. Grab some more of these. Whoop. I forgot this isn't Minecraft. I can't shift and walk over something. Okay. And I've got a thing over here to get rid of. Let's not keep falling off. All right. Number 8 again. Man, dropping things all over the place. So this is what I will be working on, is getting all of this operational. I'm going to do a bunch of stone mining in between episodes, but I think for now this is what I've got for an episode. So if you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and hit the like button down below. And if you want to see more of what I'm getting up to, there's always that subscribe button. Until next time, have a good one.